Well, good afternoon. Pastor Greg here, Faith Lutheran Church, Harvey, North Dakota, coming to you with my midweek check-in short devotion. I'm a day late this week because I took yesterday off after hosting and participating and leading the funeral for Doris Nias on Monday. So we're kind of catching up now. It is October 20th, 2022. And it is Thursday afternoon. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me today. I'm so thankful that you do that, that you're willing to put up with my conversation for a few minutes, and hopefully you gain some insight into a little bit of the texts that I'm looking at for Sunday. So this week, of course, we had the funeral, and so thank you to all who help in that, especially when it's a larger funeral like that. We just need some extra hands to help out, and there's always plenty of help, plenty of hands, and we're just thankful that not only do we get things set up for the funeral, but we get things returned back to semi-normal after the funeral, and so we're grateful for that. I am grateful for that, and I should just say too, I'm very grateful for our funeral directors that we have in this area. They're very helpful, very conscientious about what needs to be done, and really they handle so many of the details that I don't need to, and so I'm thankful for them as well. So just a couple of things we have. Of course, I need to let you know about our annual meeting on October 31st. It's our annual obligation, so to speak, to meet and pass budgets, approve other things that are coming up. And it's an important aspect of worship, is part of the living the life of the community of the church, or in this case, the congregation of faith. So I invite you and encourage you all. So come to worship that morning, celebrate with us, have lunch. Leadership is taking care of lunch for you. So I think it's taco bar. So join us for that. And then really a short meeting. It shouldn't be overly lengthy, to kind of plow through the basic reports and other things like that. So do plan on joining us. November's filling up pretty fast with stuff. Advent's coming up at the end of November. So the life of the church at the end of the year gets pretty hectic, pretty busy, pretty crazy. And we're thankful for being able to participate in that. So I'm not really sure that there's a whole lot more that I can say, other than thanks to all those who get the annual reports together so that they're ready to be given. Special shout out to my secretary, Marilyn, for the work that she puts in. I probably don't thank her enough for the monthly newsletter that gets out, and then here in October she's trying to plow, or she's trying to put together this annual report, as well as getting hyped up and ready for all the stuff that comes along at this time of year. I invite you as well to the October 31st Family Fun Fest. It's always on Halloween Eve from 5 to 6:30. I think I'd have to go back and look at the dates, the times. But that evening, where we have a not so spooky trail for the young ones, and we're doing a theme this year, a theme of oh, what the heck's the theme? It'll come back to me. Don't worry about it. So anyway, we invite you to come. There's a meal if you'd like to have a little bit of a light meal, and then kids and adults can go through the spooky trail and get some treats while you're doing that, and off you go. It pairs very well with everything else that's happening in the city. We have trunk or treat happening. We have other events happening. I think B52 has usually a thing in the afternoon, and I can't remember all that goes on, but it does work well with everything else that goes on. So do plan on joining. Enough about that kind of stuff. So today I'm kind of taking a quick look. I'm just a touch behind on where I'd like to be with my message, but I'm kind of taking a look at Luke, the 18th chapter, verses 9 through 14, and you could certainly take a moment, read those, and come back. It is the story of the Pharisee and the tax collector, and that's kind of it really should say the praying Pharisee and tax collector. Uh, I think it really identifies much better as to what it is. But in any case, what we have here is two men who've gone up to the temple to pray. One's a Pharisee and one's a tax collector. And so the focus of this is, how are you praying? What is your purpose for praying? And the Pharisee, who's pretty hip on himself, prays thusly: God, I thank you that I am not like other men. Well, that right there tells us something, doesn't it? It tells me that they've placed themselves somewhere amongst man, whether it be above them or below them. But that's where we start. I thank you, I'm not like other men. And then he lists extortioners, unjust, adulterers, and then he looks over, doesn't say that, I'm assuming he does. He looks over at the tax collector and says, even like this tax collector. Ouch. You know, now he's lifted himself above somebody. He's placed himself above all of these other people that sound terrible: extortioners, unjust, adulterers. Well, we don't want to be like those people. I mean, those people exist, and certainly it's not a terrible thing to say that I don't want to be like that. But the tax collector, while he might be a little shady, he's doing a service. He's not really um, um, the nicest guy, but certainly he's not equal to an adulterer or anything like that. Anyway, he said, the Pharisee continues, I fast twice a week. I give tithes of all that I get. So now see how great I am? I fast twice a week, and then I give tithes of all that I have, not just this. And maybe he even tithes on the gross and not the net money that he receives. We always argue about how much you're supposed to give, and I don't think it's about how much you give, it's about how you give. So then we shift from the Pharisee's prayer to the tax collector. So the tax collector doesn't even feel he can get close to this temple. So he stands off far away. He stands off far away, and he says it's beating his breast. He says, God, be merciful to me, a sinner. Now, where did the tax collector place himself? Yeah, he placed himself with everybody else. No better than anybody else, no worse than anybody else. He is a sinner. And what does he ask for? Doesn't flower it up. He doesn't say ifs. He doesn't say, well, I'm this, and I'm going to do this, or I do this and I do that. He says, no, be merciful to me. And that's the prayer we really should pray. God, be merciful to me, a sinner. Because that's really who we are. I know we don't like to think that, though. We don't like to think of ourselves as the sinner, but we are. We don't do very well on the not sinning part. And when we lift somebody, when we lift ourselves above somebody, well, we're certainly sinning in that aspect, because that's not how we are to love our neighbors, to be above them. So, yeah, two different ways to pray. That's kind of what I want us to think about. Are you praying and gloating about all the greatness that you are and above all these other people, and that you do these things? Or do you just say to the Lord, have mercy on me, Lord. I'm a sinner. And that's me. I'm right in there with them. Probably the worst of the worst. I don't know. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not sure where I'm going on the message for that as well. But we'll see. So, prayers this week. Well, we're supposed to get some rain this weekend. So let's pray for some rain. Right? Pray that we get some rain, some meaningful moisture. we're not talking about sprinkles and those kind of things, but some meaningful moisture to reinvigorate our ground, to get things moving again, so that we can be ready again for the spring planting. Since harvest is fairly well wrapping up here, so that's pretty cool. That's pretty exciting. Anyway, so pray for rain. Pray for one person. Take your pick today. Go for it. And select them and lift them up in prayer. Pray for a while. Don't just say one little thing, but pray for them and think about them and contemplate on them. And then as you go on your way today, have blessings from the Lord and take care.